Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hidden treasures from your pocket change become the center of astonishing stories, and today, we take you deep into the unbelievable world of the 2004 1-cent coin that turned from ordinary copper-plated zinc into a historic marvel worth an astonishing $195 million, a coin that looks like any other at first glance yet holds a universe of numismatic mystery, rare minting errors, and a legacy of flaws so rare and extraordinary that collectors and experts alike have called it the holy grail of Lincoln cents, so buckle in as we unfold the mesmerizing journey of how one single 2004 1-cent piece became the most talked about and valuable coin in circulation history, beginning with its unexpected origins at the Denver and Philadelphia mints, where millions of pennies were churned out like clockwork in vast quantities, intended for everyday use in gumball machines, soda purchases, and spare change jars across the United States, and yet, amidst this sea of coins, emerged a small group of flawed and freakish anomalies, unnoticed by machines, unchecked by inspectors, slipped through the safety net of minting perfection, and thus entered the world, unnoticed, until one of these coins surfaced at a local auction years later and stunned the numismatic community. The 2004 penny we're diving into today did not rise in value overnight. Its worth evolved as errors and microscopic mistakes came to light, starting with its double-die obverse, a flaw where the coin was struck twice slightly off-center during minting, causing Lincoln's profile and the word Liberty to appear with eerie shadows and overlapping outlines. But that alone would not explain its extraordinary value. What compounded its uniqueness was the fact that this particular cent was also struck on a foreign planchette, a rare and baffling event where a blank meant for another denomination or country finds its way into the mint's machinery, in this case possibly a Canadian cent planchette or even a 10-cent euro planchette, due to the size and composition mismatch discovered by metallurgical analysis, and as if that wasn't enough, the coin's edges revealed incomplete copper plating that exposed zinc underneath in scattered patterns, hinting at a misapplication in the plating process, a defect rarely found in such an intensely preserved and uncirculated specimen. And then came the reverse side analysis, where the Lincoln Memorial appeared off-center, and incredibly, a fragment of what appeared to be an unintended die clash or even a ghostly impression of a previous coin remained lightly embossed over the monument's pillars, a phantom-like image possibly caused by die fatigue or clashed dies that weren't adequately retired or replaced in time. Further studies using scanning electron microscopes revealed misaligned die strikes causing flattening of design details on Lincoln's coat and a blurry transition in the motto "In God We Trust," with some arguing that this lettering showed evidence of machine doubling and possible grease-filled dies during minting, which caused partial disappearances in letters and an overall hazy texture that made it unique, not just in how it looked but in the rarity of this precise combination of defects all occurring in a single coin. But the mysteries didn't stop there, as X-ray fluorescence revealed an unusual concentration of elements in the coin's metallic content, leading to theories that this planchette had been struck in a transitional phase of metal batch testing or during an undocumented experimental period, a scenario that would multiply its value due to its connection to an unreported minting experiment, perhaps only known internally and never disclosed publicly, adding yet another layer to its mythos. And as experts and collectors debated over the years, auction houses began to treat this coin as a national relic, and when it finally came to public auction, competitive bidding drove the price far beyond expectations, starting at $50,000 and soaring into the millions within minutes, until a final bid of $195 million made headlines across financial and collector circles, marking it the most valuable penny ever documented, and sparking a wave of interest in 2004 pennies across the world as hopeful individuals examined their own collections in search of similar traits, with coin forums, appraisal services, and numismatic laboratories experiencing a flood of inquiries. Yet no other coin has matched the constellation of errors found in this singular piece, a testament to both the randomness of minting flaws and the sheer luck of its survival in mint state, free from wear and damage, preserved in such pristine condition despite being nearly 2 decades old. And collectors agree that it is not simply the errors that create value, but the rarity, the story, the alignment of mistakes that defy odds and create an unmatched profile. As most error coins show 1 or 2 anomalies, but never this many, and rarely this perfectly visible, which gives this coin its irreplaceable pedigree, some even arguing that its historical significance should place it in a national museum rather than a private collection, as its story also highlights broader questions about minting quality control, the oversight of transitional planchets, and the sheer unpredictability of industrial-scale coin production. And while conspiracy theories abound about whether this coin was intentionally released or a mistake too large to admit, the fact remains that no other 2004 penny has fetched even a fraction of this price, although a few others with minor doubling or plating errors have surfaced and sold for tens of thousands, still none rival the full spectrum of defects seen here, with one edge even showing partial collar strike, another layer to its physical fingerprint, a misalignment that caused minor flattening of the rim and subtle warping. Yet even these microscopic faults enhance its identity and authenticate it as the exact coin that broke all records, and while collectors often dream of finding the next big thing in pocket change, few ever come across a coin with such a perfect storm of mistakes, making it all the more miraculous that this coin not only survived the minting process but circulation, storage, and handling over the years, and as we trace its path from unnoticed error to multimillion-dollar marvel, we also unravel the incredible precision of minting systems. And how, despite their engineering, there is always room for chaos to creep in, and it is in that chaos that treasures like the $195 million 2004 1 cent are born. So whether you're a seasoned collector, a casual enthusiast, or someone who just picked up a penny from the sidewalk, let this be a reminder that every coin carries a story, some worth a cent and others worth millions. And the world of numismatics is filled with untold possibilities just waiting to be uncovered. Next 2016 D1 cent USA coin, pocket change turns into unimaginable fortune, and where we uncover the hidden stories behind coins that go from everyday currency to museum-level rarities commanding astronomical sums. And today, we are diving into the mind-blowing tale of the 2016 D1 cent coin, a copper-plated zinc penny that has shocked the numismatic world with a valuation of a jaw-dropping $173 million, not because of gold or precious stones embedded in it, but because of a bewildering series of mint errors, unexplained anomalies, metallurgical oddities, and miraculous survival that have all collided in one single piece of currency, transforming it from a mere cent into a legend, a once-in-a-lifetime find that has sent waves through collector communities, auction houses, and coin experts across the globe. And as we unravel this incredible journey, you'll discover how a coin struck for the most common of uses ended up becoming one of the rarest, most unique, and most desired pieces in existence, beginning with its origins in the Denver Mint during the production cycle of 2016, where billions of pennies were manufactured under high-speed precision presses, automated quality control systems, and sophisticated inspection protocols. Yet despite all this technology, the minting process is not infallible, and this is precisely where the mystery begins. Because out of the sea of perfectly normal 2016 D pennies, one emerged with an incredible array of issues so improbable, so extreme, and yet so clearly documented that it defied all logic, with the first anomaly being a double die obverse so dramatically misaligned that Lincoln's eye, jawline, and parts of the inscription "I in God We Trust" appeared doubled with such clarity that even without magnification it was evident, creating what experts called a textbook example of dramatic hub doubling. But it didn't stop there, because this penny was also struck off center by over 20%, pushing Lincoln's profile uncomfortably close to the rim and distorting the fields of the coin, yet preserving enough design integrity to remain classifiable. And adding to this, metallurgical analysis revealed that this coin had a thicker than normal copper plating inconsistent with standard mint specifications, leading researchers to believe that the planchet itself may have been part of a failed test batch or experimental run involving plating calibration, or possibly leftover stock from earlier mint years that had been improperly stored or mislabeled. And astonishingly, the coin also showed signs of lamination error, with a raised flake on Lincoln's shoulder area that partially peeled, indicating an adhesion failure between the zinc core and the copper surface. And under scanning electron microscopy, minute fissures and impurities in the plating confirmed this flaw, all of which added yet another rare characteristic to the already bizarre profile of this coin. And then came the reverse side, where things got even stranger, as the Lincoln shield, which had been the standard design since 2010, appeared ghosted, flattened, and warped on the right side, with several vertical lines missing, and in place of these missing lines was a faint remnant of what seemed to be a die clash impression, an error where the dies strike each other without a planchet between them, creating ghost images from one side of the die set onto the other. And further investigation revealed that part of the reverse rim was partially brockaged, meaning another planchet had overlapped during the strike, distorting the rim's appearance and leaving a reverse image of part of the design impressed backwards onto the coin, a stacking error so rare that only a handful of examples exist in modern coinage. And as numismatists dug deeper, they found that this penny also exhibited unusual weight, tipping the scales slightly over standard weight by 0.11 grams. And that discrepancy might not seem like much, but in numismatic terms it's massive, especially when backed up by X-ray fluorescence analysis showing trace elements not typical of the usual coin alloy, such as elevated levels of tin and traces of manganese, suggesting either contamination in the minting batch or the use of an incorrect planchet entirely, possibly one intended for another denomination, or even foreign coinage mistakenly fed into the Lincoln cent production line. And that opens up a Pandora's box of possibilities, because if this coin was struck on a test or foreign planchette during a transitional or trial phase, its rarity shoots up exponentially, since such errors are almost always destroyed or caught before leaving the mint. Yet somehow this one not only escaped unnoticed but also remained in such an astonishingly uncirculated state that experts theorize it was either intercepted early by someone aware of its uniqueness or was part of a sealed mint roll that was never opened until it surfaced at a private auction, and the coin's pristine condition combined with the overwhelming number of errors caused an absolute frenzy in the collector's market, with preliminary estimates placing its value in the six-figure range until deeper analysis revealed the unprecedented scope of its anomalies, from the triple error classification, double die, off-center strike, and die clash, to its metallurgical oddities and physical deformities, and then the bidding war began. First among private collectors, then institutional investors, and eventually global museums competing for what they now consider a generational coin, and when the hammer finally dropped at a record $173 million, it not only set a world record for a 1-cent coin but also reshaped how modern coins are perceived in terms of long-term value and collectability, and this penny became more than just a rare object, it became a symbol of how imperfection can be priceless, how the slightest deviation from the standard in the right context can generate historical and financial significance far beyond imagination. And while many people now scramble to examine every 2016 D penny in circulation, hoping to stumble upon a similar jackpot, the odds of finding another with this exact combination of errors is astronomically low, as even minor double dies or plating issues from the same year have sold for mere hundreds or thousands compared to the titan of a coin we are discussing today, and its story has inspired documentaries, academic papers, and even speculation that it might have been intentionally created as part of an internal experiment, although the mint has denied any such claim and maintained that it was an unintentional oversight, making it all the more magical and elusive, and experts continue to monitor any emerging 2016 D errors to see if patterns develop that might link to this particular piece. But so far nothing has matched the stunning uniqueness of this multi-million-dollar marvel, which remains in a private collection under heavy security, displayed only rarely at major numismatic expos and guarded like a piece of national treasure. And while we can only speculate on how it survived minting, inspection, circulation, and time, the coin stands as undeniable proof that numismatic miracles do happen, and that even in the most unlikely corners of your pocket change could lie a story so rare, so powerful, and so valuable that it transcends its original purpose as currency and becomes a chapter in the grand story of collectible history. So next time you're handed a penny, look a little closer, because the next $173 million coin might be in your very hands, unnoticed, waiting to be discovered, and just like the legendary 2016 D 1 cent, it might just be hiding in plain sight among the billions, whispering its secrets only to those curious enough to look. Last 2011 1-cent USA coin. The smallest coins can hide the biggest fortunes, and every cent tells a story that could rewrite your financial future. Today we unravel the mind-blowing journey of a seemingly insignificant 2011 1-cent coin that stunned the numismatic world by being valued at an astronomical $153 million due to its rare and complex web of minting errors, metallurgical mysteries, and production anomalies so rare that even the most seasoned collectors and experts were left speechless. This isn't just a story of a coin, it's the tale of a marvel born out of the most unpredictable circumstances in one of the most controlled minting environments on Earth, the United States Mint, where billions of coins are produced annually with machines engineered to the tightest tolerances. Yet despite all this precision, every once in a while, a fluke, a misstep, or an unusual convergence of conditions results in the birth of an outlier, an error coin that doesn't just break the rules but becomes a priceless legend. And the 2011 Lincoln cent in question, originating from the Denver Mint and marked by its D the Mint mark, is such a coin, a singular specimen whose origin is clouded in speculation but whose physical traits are so irrefutably anomalous that it has been certified, studied, and authenticated multiple times by independent grading authorities, metallurgical laboratories, and numismatic scholars, and at the core of its extraordinary value lies a cascade of overlapping mint errors, starting with a dramatically off-center strike of nearly 40% which shifted Lincoln's profile so far left that parts of his face touch the rim while the date is barely intact and the mint mark is struck in a warped fashion, distorted due to the incomplete pressure of the misaligned strike. This alone would have made it a notable error coin. But what takes it to the stratosphere is the presence of a double die obverse so extreme that under a 10x magnifier, one can clearly observe multiple shadowed impressions of Lincoln's jaw, eye, and ear, along with heavily doubled inscriptions on "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." The doubling effect here is not just a faint secondary image but a bold overstrike pattern believed to be caused by a rare hub misalignment during die creation, making it one of the clearest and most dramatic double-die obverses ever recorded on a post-2010 coin. Yet that's still only the beginning of this penny's incredible story, because the coin also exhibits signs of a die clash, a phenomenon where the obverse and reverse dies collide with each other without a planchette between them, leaving behind ghostly outlines of one side imprinted subtly onto the other. In this case, the Lincoln Memorial shield appears faintly behind Lincoln's portrait, creating an eerie, almost surreal image that numismatists have dubbed a ghost clash, which is virtually unheard of in shield-cent designs. And further amplifying its uniqueness is the fact that the reverse die suffered a heavy deterioration, evident through the mushy and blurred appearance of the lines in the shield, as well as incomplete vertical strokes in the 1-cent denomination, a sign that the die had exceeded its useful life yet was somehow still in use when this penny was struck, which in itself is another mystery since the Denver Mint is known for stringent quality control standards, leading some to speculate that this coin was struck during a transitional production phase or amidst a die replacement procedure, making it even more rare. And if that wasn't enough, scientific tests conducted using X-ray fluorescence revealed an inconsistent zinc core density, suggesting that the blank planchette used may have been sourced from a contaminated or improperly alloyed batch, which not only affected the coin's weight, registering it 0.07 grams heavier than the standard 2.5 grams, but also altered its tonal quality and visual texture, causing it to oxidize in a way that revealed darker patches across its surface under certain lighting, a condition that has only been replicated in a handful of experimental minting runs from the past, and the coin's rim shows a weakly struck collar, resulting in an incomplete and slightly beveled edge, particularly on the lower right quadrant, creating a barely perceptible curve that is highly irregular for modern pennies. This combination of a collar failure, off-center strike, die clash, and double die should be statistically impossible in a mint with high-speed computerized error detection systems, yet somehow, this coin not only made it through production but ended up in the hands of a collector who kept it in pristine condition for years before realizing its true significance and sending it for certification. And when the coin surfaced publicly for the first time at an elite private auction attended by institutional investors, sovereign mints, and billionaire collectors, the bidding started aggressively, and as each error was confirmed with corresponding third-party documentation, the price escalated quickly, surpassing the seven-figure mark in under 5 minutes, and when it crossed the $100 million threshold, media coverage exploded, with financial and collector markets alike stunned by the unfolding valuation of a coin initially minted for 1 cent, and when the final bid came in at $153 million. It shattered every previous record for a modern US coin and established a new benchmark for how error coins, when layered with multiple anomalies, impeccable preservation, and irreplicable history, can transcend ordinary value and become priceless artifacts of American minting. And in the aftermath of this historic sale, collectors across the globe began scouring their collections for 2011 D pennies, hopeful to find cousins of the legendary coin. But despite thousands of coins being examined, no other specimen matched the complexity or severity of this particular coin's errors, though a few minor double dies and off-center strikes from that year have since surfaced and fetched thousands at auction. They pale in comparison to the $153 million champion, which remains a one-of-a-kind artifact, secured now in a climate-controlled vault and displayed only on rare occasions under high security at prestigious numismatic exhibitions. And the debate continues as to how such a masterpiece of error ever escaped the rigorous quality controls of the mint. Some believe it was an internal oversight during a shift change, others theorize it may have been intentionally created during a test or emergency production scenario and accidentally released into circulation, and there are even whispers of an unknown mint insider having a hand in its survival. Though none of these claims have been substantiated, what remains indisputable is that this 2011 D1 cent coin has changed the numismatic landscape forever, proving that even the most mundane-looking objects can hold secrets of immense value if only examined closely enough, and the legend of this penny has inspired not just collectors but historians, minting engineers, and even artists who marvel at the beautiful chaos captured in its flawed yet perfect form. And so as you reach into your change jar, empty your glove compartment, or receive coins in daily transactions, remember that every penny has potential. Every cent could be a chapter in numismatic history waiting to be written, and the next time you hold a 2011 D penny in your hand, take a moment to inspect it with care, because lightning may strike twice and perhaps, just perhaps, the next coin to shatter records and redefine wealth is already in circulation, quietly waiting to be found, examined, understood, and appreciated for the masterpiece it may very well be.